me closer, know that I'm a mess. Tangled up in wires, I can't catch my breath. I run, I run, I run. Falling deeper, I cannot confess.
Gotta get that on camera. So you see how they got this coming in the corner? So I had that revised. So we can make all of this work how we need it. This is in the green space right now. So to make this work easier, all we gotta do is slide this way, like 2 feet and a foot this way, and see how that'll change the angles of everything. It'll go into the sides here much easier by dropping it down. Yeah. And actually, you won't even have to go this way. All you gotta do is go down. Put it down. You just gotta go down 2 feet, that's it. And that'll slide in nice, and then this will go in that side nice.
How long are those rooms?
Short.
Like, it looks like it says 12 feet.
So make sure you do it exact, because it will be able to use exactly 2 sticks of pipe. So we got 16 feet here, so you have 4 foot left over, and 24 here. So there's your 4 foot.
Scale it real quick and make sure it goes center to center, and not catch basin to catch basin. That's what you said last time. Every time it's different.
Okay, buddy.
This guy.
And this one is, so then delete it, you just hold down. And then this is your measuring here. All right, so today, I'm not even worried about that run. Let's get tied into this one today. Let's do this run, set that catch basin, this run, set this catch basin. Because we got the grease trap fucking around to do. I want to get that backfilled. And then also, when we do these, I want to get them mortared, and then we got to put silt socks on them at the end of the day.
I have.
Which we have silt socks.
I have that little bit of mortar in my computer. So let's just mark that out.
To our old one, I mean. Because that's got the new drawing on it, the other one doesn't.
From this to that?
I'll call Kyle. That's
I
fine.
think you literally just put it in. The chip.
I don't know.
I have the USB that it's on. Oh no, that's
Alright, so it's
22.3.
no, wrong run. 15.5 to the center. Center to center at an angle. So where do you at? Go to 14.5. Okay. Okay. So just give me 26 feet off the corner of the building. Oh yeah, that makes sense. It's right here. And 26.5 feet this way, so can you measure on that corner? Here. Go to that dot. Up with this tape measure. You gotta press the button. I am. This fucking pile of shit. Alright. Right there. Yeah, and how'd you move it? How many feet?
Yeah.
You're pretty much right there.
Okay. So this is that
So-
center of catch basin.
No, it's gotta move a little bit. Because we gotta account for both.
Coffee came off.
Bro, just put a damn square on the ground.
Pull forward more. Yeah, it's good. Triple. That means triple espresso. My collar's blue, my neck is red. We can try.
Or we can, try it and...
Thing into it so the four ways just slip on.
Corey, you look like a fucking pimp.
Thanks.
Seriously.
It's gotta be the glasses, huh?
Where's your name tag? Where's the barista tag? He's like, yeah, fuck you. What? And then so hook it on. Yep, these always go up. And then as he lifts it, go up. And then yeah, untangle that. All right, Jake, start to lift it up.
Each is still heavy lift on this thing, right?
So they're coming at 11:30 to wrap that trailer, the flow boy. So can you go there now and just kind of pressure wash it and get that shit on it to try and clean all the mud and dirt? So get this done. Let's get, because they want to get this situated. So storm, yes, worried about, but not worried about at the same time. So let's get this reset. He's gonna back in right here. Yep. So his outriggers land here. His outriggers cannot go here. It'll cave it in. So he'll lift it up. We'll have to dump some stone and redo it to 5 inches higher. We'll set the tank. These risers can go on and then they just get mudded around it. This will get you exactly to grade. There. So then all this is cleaned up, you know what I'm saying?
And we want to be, obviously I guess 2 risers each, right?
Yes, yep, yeah, 2 risers each. That center one just gets carried like that. That way we can backfill it up to bottom of inverts to clean it. Yeah, so we're gonna wanna expose this for the plumbers, and then we're gonna wanna dig this and this for the electricians to run their power. And then once that's done and this is backfilled and cleaned up, these guys are good, they won't need us, then we can start working on storm.
Is there a knock out there?
50.
50 inches, so that's, yeah.
4 foot 2 inches.
Yeah, makes sense. Pretty close.
Yes, exactly. Well, I get that set up right now. Yeah, set up the laser, get all that set, move those risers out of the way, and then open up them gates.
Undo that for me?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you have it in here or right there? Top of the tape measure. Which one?
What's that? Oh, right here.
Okay. Go right to the 11. Yep. Look good from my house.
Your mother this, your mother that.
He was fucking ready to fuck. He's trying to eat it. side of the string. Yep, you got that. Now. All right. I can move it from the rest of the way with the bar.
So today we're in Gates at the Chipotle site. We just finished up about 3/4 of the storm and the water a couple days prior. As of right now, we're just going around the site and packing everything in, grading everything off, so hopefully it can shed a little bit of water tonight. We're supposed to get some rain and keep it in as best shape as possible to deal with the weather. And that's what we did today, and you guys are gonna see a couple videos of it. Oh! Fuck. God. Better with the phone.
Real serious guy. Dude, how do we not have
Do you have it in reverse?
Because they were all charged. I used 2 batteries cutting those fucking pipes over there. The 5-inch pipes.
Conduits?
I got this back.
Actually be able to cut through.
You didn't hit the back though.
Huh? Yeah, I know, but this way I'm not cutting through.
Oh, I have a charger.
You thought that was bad.
I think I have a charger.
I see you guys struggling.
Let me wait till after he's done cutting to tell him just 10 quick minutes on the charger. Yo, that thing live? Live. That thing right there, that's live? Hey, I don't need this right now.
Yeah, you do.
I don't need this.
I'm doing something. No, you're not. I'm doing something.
This type of shit they set me up to do doesn't work.
I found it. Yo, you've been on your filming grind right now. Because you've been gone for mad long. What?
I'm filming every day.
Yeah, not here. Are you filming me right now? So, you're fucking grinding, dude. Holy shit. Guys, don't even know I got caught.
Sweet.
That's totally sweet.
What's going on? You?
Time before it was $500, now that was $400. So I was like, I'd rather just get 20 footers if he has some at the shop. He can bring them back out.
Oh yeah.
Real serious. Okay. Okay, we can use that.
Where are we gonna go, Bill? Mm-hmm.
More irrigation.
Okay.
my friend, are killing it.
Yeah, we can. It'll still work. Oh, we had a 26.
Take it to me.
Yep. Oh yeah, dude. I'd put that one there too if I was you. Yep.
That's where I put it. Yep, you're killing it.
Nobody did math. I didn't fucking do any math for it. I just looked at it and was like, I think this might be
300
enough.
foot will do.
Actually, he thought 140 was good at first.
Yeah, I know.
We have to do that one, and we got some over by the Volvo, and we got another
No.
one in that other bed.
No?
Yeah.
We got 2 more to do. 1, 2.
Oh, there's any by the Volvo?
No. You literally have the picture on your phone.
I haven't looked at it once.
Then that's why the pipe was on.
Yeah, that's why we're all 400 feet. Getting jiggy.
I can't talk to the camera knowing you're sitting right there. All right, so we've been reading the comments section. People have been asking, how I got started, what's RPS all about. Obviously you guys have seen what we do. So I guess I'll just dive right into it. So when I was in 10th grade, I started, cutting lawns. I got hooked up with a person in Spencerport who, gotta take this call quick. Hey. Here, let's touch base at the end of the day. I'm just in a meeting right now. I just called it. Wanted to call you back. All right. So I got hooked up with this older couple in Spencerport, and they wanted me to kind of like a handyman almost around the yard. So I started cutting their grass with their lawnmower, pulling their weeds, stuff like that. I'd have to get dropped off there. I didn't have a license. And then from there, I was like, you know what, maybe I start cutting lawns for other people. So I was fortunate, my dad had a zero-turn lawnmower and a little landscape trailer. So when I got my license, I started doing that, going door to door and flyering, getting lawns. One of my dad's friends was in the lawn care business and kind of getting out of it. So he had some clients that I was able to take on. I was very fortunate for that. That was able to help me grow. And as you know, for people watching that are in the landscape industry doing lawns, it kind of trickles into all your other work. So when you cut their lawn, you do their spring and fall cleanup. And when you do that, they want you to do their mulch or their stone or do their edging or pull their weeds. So there's a bunch of jobs that stem from lawn mowing, and that's actually how I got into snow plowing too, is some people wanted snowplow service. So I had plowed on the side while I was in high school for a friend of mine's uncle. So I was familiar with the plowing industry. I'd already done it for somebody else. So I started to get into that. So I was doing snow plowing and the lawn mowing. Then I, saved up and I was able to purchase a skid steer my senior year of high school. So I did that because I was starting to get, some grading jobs and whatnot. So I'd rent a skid steer. My father is a general contractor. He does remodeling, additions, stuff like that. So he had a mini excavator for doing egress wells. So I started doing, like grading out, tearing out landscapes, extending a driveway, doing a French drain, just little stuff that kind of got me familiar, doing a little bit of dirt work, and then, skid steer work, stuff like that. I'd rent that. So I saved up, bought my first skid steer, and just kind of went from there. I was on like Angie's List and stuff like that, getting leads. I forgot. I feel like when you start, the name just gets out there and it just keeps going. I wasn't super busy, but I kept consistent. As I was still in high school, so it was busy enough. I was making pretty good money for a high school kid. Working part time. So I would leave, in between classes and at lunchtime and after school and go mow lawns. I had stuff right in town. And then when I got more into like the excavating stuff, I got a grading job. That's probably the best way to start. Yeah, so I got a grading job for this lady's backyard. I had to build it up and raise it and all that. And her boyfriend was doing remodeling for Burger King's. So I got in touch with him, and he's like, hey, I'm doing a conversion from an old Friendly's, which is a restaurant near us, into a Burger King. There's some exterior stuff, ripping out curbs, redoing pavement, tying in a sewer. At the time, I knew nothing about sewer. I'd never graded for curbs, pavement, anything like that. But, it was a great opportunity I couldn't pass up. So dove into it, gave him a price. Looking back on it now, my price was probably 75% lower than what it should have been. But it was a great learning experience for getting into the commercial world, tearing out all the concrete, seeing how it all comes apart and comes back together. On that job, I learned how grade stakes worked and how you read them. Digging out the addition, I ran into the sewer line. We had to reroute that. So it was just kind of like a great introductory, and we actually did a great job. We knocked it out of the park on the job itself, and kind of surprised looking back on. Had no experience, but put it together properly. Just having friends in the industry and older superiors that I know and have grown into has been a huge help. To ask questions, and my dad, just being a jack of all trades, can figure out anything kind of guy. He's helped out. So call him, and even if he doesn't know the answer, he helped me figure it out. So that was a huge part of getting started. And then first commercial job after that was a Burger King for that same guy. It was a 3-acre site about 20 minutes from where I live, and it was huge. I knew nothing. Literally, I couldn't read a blueprint. I didn't know what I was doing whatsoever. I priced the job. I had rented equipment from my girlfriend's dad. Was getting out of the business at the time, and I met him before my girlfriend. And I was renting his equipment, and I had bought an old bulldozer, and I had my skid steer and a mini excavator ready to do this Burger King. So I went in there. I think 2 employees at the time, and went in there and started stripping the site, trying to figure out what was going on. I had one of the guys that worked for me, his uncle, come out. We were trying to figure out like how the storm system, like how to put in a catch basin and all this stuff. And I got going and started to figure out as I was going. It was taking so much more time than need be. 7 days a week, trying to literally learn as I'm doing it. And then I ended up getting into a spot where I was like, all right, I gotta hire somebody to do this. I can't complete all this work. So it kind of snapped me into a realization. And I didn't have a contract for the job, which we'll get into that later in the video. But so I kind of went into this job just blind, just doing it and hoping I get paid. So we get going. I hire this other site contractor to come in and do the job. Pretty much proposed it as I was like too busy to do it. But little did he know when I had him come in that I just didn't know at all what I was doing. So what I would do is I would have my guys that worked for me on other jobs, doing, just like what we do, small additions, small grading jobs, stuff like that. And then I would be there every single day, sun up to sundown, watching them and helping them and handing them pipe and going to get materials and all this stuff, thinking that, I was just there. It was just one of my jobs, you know, and I'm just making sure they're doing it right. But really, I was watching them and, you know, learning from them. So that was, you know, a huge benefit to me. And then as the project progressed, I brought my guys in and we would do some of the work, kind of working side by side with them. I actually got into a spot where I was buying all the material. I didn't have a credit card at the time, no line of credit with the bank, nothing. And I had put my debit card on with the plant. And so the contractor said, "Oh, we need a bunch of trucks and we got to bring in a ton of stone for what's called the Storm Tech system." It's basically a big underground detention system that has these orange domes that, you know, the water filtrates into the catch basins down into these systems that are below ground and filtrates through the stone, so it has time to perk into the ground and then take out. It cleans the water and also minimizes the amount of water that leaves the site. So we were bringing in stone, and by 10 o'clock the pit called me and my card got declined. I had $0 to my name. And so my mom put her credit card on file to finish out the rest of the week. And I had no money. And at this point, we were probably a month and a half into the project, and I had not seen a check at all. And the contractor that was working under me still like had faith that we were going to get paid, and I didn't know how it worked on payment. I just figured, oh, like they got to pay me, you know, they can't not pay. And so we got to the point where the contractor I hired was looking for money. I had no money, and we're trying to get this thing done. So trying to get a pay app in, and like the GC cut me like a small check and I just gave it to him, kept like 5,000 for myself to, you know, have some money, and then keep things going. We go a little bit longer, submit another pay app, continue the work, and wasn't getting paid. So then I ended up reaching out to the company, the Burger King, and they brought in their construction manager and said, "Listen, we've been paying this GC, you know, and they just weren't paying us." So then we, you know, as the project progressed and this kind of kept happening, we came to the realization, and sort of the Burger King general contractor, that they just didn't bid the job high enough. And I found out that this was their first ground up Burger King as well. So they weren't used to this in the pricing. So they had way underbid the job, and we didn't even have a bid to them. So really, I was lucky that I ended up getting paid in the end. So I was getting joint checks from Burger King, to pay me, to pay myself for my work, and then pay the contractor that I hired. And, you know, looking back, they still got a good deal because of how much, you know, we were charging. I didn't know what prices were at the time, and I wasn't marking up my sub at all. And we did the job significantly cheaper than they could have had done. So they didn't get screwed, but everyone could have gotten screwed in that, including myself. And luckily, you know, good people, and they made it right. And, you know, we ended up completing the job. It turned out great. Everyone got paid. But that could have been it right then and there. I could have started and been done right there. But, you know, things work out, you know, things happen for a reason. And I couldn't be more happy that that was my first experience with a commercial project. Not only did I learn all phases of what now I do in that job, but I also learned on, you know, contracts and how the lawyers work back and forth, and how documentation on, you know, how they could have not paid me. I could have been not paid and they would have been doing nothing wrong because I wasn't under contract. So, you know, it was a very good learning experience, and I'm very fortunate to say that it happened. So then moving forward, I ended up doing a, you know, an ice cream shop, Brewster's Ice Cream around here. That one we completed the site completely on our own. And then from there, it, you know, just kind of kept going. We did a Burger King after that. Then we went and did a Taco Bell, you know, Dunkin' Donuts, and so on. Just kept moving, you know, growing, buying equipment. You know, now we were learning how everything worked. It was easy. You know, all these sites are the same but different. Like, all the process is the same. So, you know, we learned it very quickly, and, you know, it became our bread and butter. We were doing the Burger King job in Buffalo, New York, which is the third project that we did, the second one on our own. And we had to do a storm crossing, an 18-inch storm crossing across a 4-lane main road, 55-mile-an-hour road. I had never done traffic control before. I had just learned how to do storm, and me and a couple guys that were also very new with it, I had no experience guys, we decided to tackle the full road closure and lane shifts and moving traffic to one side to the other, replating the road, and because we had a saw cut across and traffic zoning, we had no business doing what we did, but we got it done, and that was just another learning curve. Calling contacts. Who do I call? They're like, oh, for setup of the cones, call these people. They'll rent them to you. So what I did is I paid them to come out and set them up, and I learned and was asking the guy of like how and they follow the prints and how to see where the traffic signs go and DOT and all this stuff. And so I did that, and then for our practice, we did the setup and takedown every day. So they set it up. I learned how to shift the lanes and redirect traffic and all the flagging and stopping. And then we would take it down every day and reset it up to get familiar. So we did that, and that's kind of how we got into and learning the traffic controls and working in the road and the right of ways and permitting in the towns and how it all works. And again, it was like a dive right in, one of the most serious things you could do, without going to heavy highway and road construction, and just dove right into it and figured it out. And thankfully, no one got hurt and everything went successful. And we did a great job. That too, we worked with a paving contractor who's also a site contractor out in Buffalo, and they gave us a hand putting together RPZ, the paving, some insights on the site and how to do things, and that was very helpful. So I built some contacts and a great relationship with that company out there, who we're actually working with right now out in Lockport. They're going to be doing the paving for us out at the Keenan Center. So that's kind of how we got started and how things have been going. And since then we've kind of become the preferred contractor around here for these sites. And since then, we've worked for multiple GCs, and multiple landlords for these people, and we love them. A lot of people, everyone gets their niche, and these pad sites have definitely become our niche. It's what we started in. I definitely see us doing them for a good amount of time as we've become very well versed in them, and the guys are very used to them, and I definitely want to stay on that track for a little bit. All right, so I know probably everyone has their own opinion. So I'm 24 years old now, on everything, and so like I know from watching other people, and I hate when people try and act like they had no help. They did it all on their own. They try and flaunt these things that aren't theirs. So I just want to be transparent about everything. So like the shop that I have right now, that is my dad's shop that he purchased, and I've been very, very fortunate to have the parents that I have. My mom is an accounting wizard. She's a CFO at a company for manufacturing, very smart with books. That's been extremely helpful in getting me started before I can afford to have an office staff. And my dad being in the construction industry, helping me out with stuff. And back when I think I was like 10 years old, he had asked me and my brother if he wanted for him to purchase a cottage or this piece of property and shop. And if I would have been asked that 10 times thinking back, I probably would have said cottage. But luckily we said that, and they bought that, and it has been a huge part of me growing my company. As you guys in the industry know, without a shop and a yard, you can't grow. Fast anyway, because you don't have a place to put stuff, store stuff, park, have fuel tanks, equipment. It just limits you. And for him to have that shop, for me to use, has been huge to the success of the company, and the fast growth. Since then we have moved into this office, which I lease. And then we actually just purchased, closed today actually, on a shop that I just purchased with some land right down the road, that we'll be showing some videos on of, doing some things at the shop, and, showing you guys the yard, and how that's going to come along. We're going to build an office on the site. So it's really cool to see things coming together. You know, it's exactly how I pictured it and dreamed of everything happening. And very fortunate to have the people surrounding me and the parents that I did, and you know, the jump start on the business for sure. And just the hard work and the great guys that I've had has been the huge part of RPS becoming what it is today. And not only that, but I got to say thanks to the general contractors and people that I've worked for trusting a kid in his early 20s to do a huge part of a construction project. You know, when you do, say, at Dunkin' Donuts, the site work is over half the cost of the total build. So for those people that have the faith in me that they did and trust me in doing the work with my guys, I gotta, you know, I owe a lot to them, because I don't know if I was in their shoes, trust a young kid coming to me to trust that they do it, because that's ultimately their name on the project as well. So, you know, the people that I do work with still to this day, you know, I can't thank them enough for, you know, how things have worked out and the relationship we built together. Yeah. Today we are up to over 30 pieces of equipment between excavators, dozers, trucks, and dump trucks, lowboy. You know, it's surreal to look back and, you know, think that in 2022 I bought my first big excavator, which was a Case 145, which I still have today. And at that time, I had only owned a small dozer, that excavator, and a skid steer, and a mini excavator. You know, and fast forward to 3 years later, and we have over 30 now, which is crazy to think about how fast we've grown. You know, and I haven't for a second slowed down on, you know, growing the company. You know, as things progressed, I always invested more in equipment, top of the line, you know, equipment, GPS, trainings, you know, get everything in order so that we're ready for the next, you know, step. I always look at equipment, you know, and buy it ahead of time, thinking, okay, this is the jobs I want to do and want to get into. This is the equipment I'm going to have. So when I get those jobs, I'm not scrambling to buy or rent, you know, for top dollar. And, you know, that's been a huge help as well, just kind of being geared up and showing them as well, like, this is the equipment guy, this is the stuff we do, we can handle that job. And you know, that proves itself right there. Not entirely, but it definitely helps to show that you have the gear and capabilities to get the job done. So yeah, that's kind of RPS in a nutshell on how we got started and where things are at right now. And, you know, the future, I'm excited to see what the next 5 years brings. But, you know, stay tuned for the, you know, the shop and property and build on that. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. Anything you want to see or talk about, please comment down below. We love to, you know, the interaction.
Closer, know that I'm a mess, tangled up in